What if the biggest threat to your financial stability after 62 isn't the stock market, inflation, or even your medical bills, but 6 quiet money traps draining your savings year after year without you even realizing? Most people think that retirement means financial peace, that after decades of work, things finally get easier. But here's the hard truth. For millions of Americans over 62, retirement is when the slow leak begins. It starts small, a subscription you forgot to cancel, a financial decision you made years ago that no longer fits your life, helping your kids just a bit too much, or simply trusting that things will work themselves out. But over time, these small choices, these money traps, turn into patterns. Patterns that don't just shrink your wallet. They quietly erode your independence, your peace of mind, and your ability to enjoy the life you've earned. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because once you know what to look for, you can take back control. You're about to discover 6 of the most common and most overlooked financial mistakes people make after 62. Mistakes that compound over time, draining thousands of dollars from retirement savings, limiting opportunities, and sometimes even forcing people back to work when they least expect it. These traps don't just affect your bank account. They affect your health, your relationships, your freedom. They shape what kind of life you'll be living 5, 10, or 20 years from now. In this video, we'll walk you through real patterns observed in thousands of American retirees. Patterns backed by data, shaped by lived experience, and often completely hidden in plain sight. And to make this real, we'll introduce you to 2 people, both over 70, both retired, both started with similar resources. But their lives look nothing alike today. Their stories will help you see just how powerful your financial habits can be. If you're serious about protecting your future, watch until the end. The 6th trap is the one most people never see coming, and by the time they do, it's often too late. Comment number 1 if you're ready. Let's start with something many people overlook after retirement: lifestyle creep. It sounds harmless. Enough. After all, isn't retirement the time to finally enjoy life? To loosen the belt a bit, say yes more often, and indulge in the things you've waited decades to do? But here's the reality. The first few years after retirement are often the most financially dangerous. With more free time, fewer responsibilities, and the excitement of a new phase, spending tends to rise, quietly, steadily, almost invisibly. That's exactly what happened to Eleanor. When she retired at 62, she felt free. She booked cruises with friends, treated her grandchildren to weekend getaways, and finally bought that luxury sedan she always wanted. "I'm not going to live forever," she told herself. "I deserve this." What she didn't do was check how fast her savings were shrinking. Every dinner out, every shopping trip, every streaming subscription added weight to her financial future. None of them seemed significant on their own, but over time they reshaped her financial reality. By 70, Eleanor had to dip into her emergency fund just to cover basic monthly expenses. Robert, meanwhile, approached retirement with quiet discipline. He created a new budget before his final paycheck arrived. He and his late wife had agreed long ago that retirement wasn't about spending more. It was about spending better. So, instead of upgrading his car, he maintained the one he had. Instead of spontaneous vacations, he planned one meaningful trip a year. And instead of adding new expenses, he evaluated which ones he could comfortably let go of. The difference isn't in how much they have, it's in how they manage what they have. Research shows that the average retiree underestimates their expenses by nearly 20% in the first 5 years of retirement. And once lifestyle inflation sets in, it's hard to reverse. One simple habit can change that: a monthly check-in with your bank statements. Track where your money goes, not to judge yourself, but to stay awake to the patterns. Now, moving to the second factor that silently affects longevity and peace of mind: helping adult children beyond your means. It's one of the most emotionally complex traps, because it's wrapped in love. You raised them, you watched them struggle, and when they call asking for help, saying no feels almost cruel. But too often, financial support given out of love turns into a lifeline that drains your own. Eleanor never thought twice. Her son had gone through a difficult divorce, and she couldn't stand seeing him and her grandkids in a tough spot. So she co-signed a car loan, then helped with rent, then covered some unexpected medical bills. Each time, it felt like the right thing to do. But none of it was budgeted, none of it came from surplus, and none of it came back. Over time, her savings thinned out, but she kept telling herself it was temporary. Once he gets back on his feet, I'll be okay again. Robert took a different approach. His daughter also faced financial turbulence after her business closed. She asked for help. He listened, and then he told her the truth. I want to help, but I need to make sure I don't put my own future at risk. So they sat down together, looked at numbers, found solutions that didn't depend solely on him. It wasn't easy, but it was honest. And ultimately, it strengthened their relationship rather than straining it. This isn't about saying no to your children. It's about saying yes with wisdom. According to the AARP, over half of parents aged 55 and older provide financial support to adult children, often at the expense of their own retirement security. The key is setting boundaries. Decide in advance what you can afford to give and what must remain untouched. Have the hard conversations early, when they can still be constructive, not desperate. Because your financial health doesn't just impact you, it impacts your ability to be there for your family in the long run. Another habit that often gets ignored is overpaying for insurance you no longer need. It's easy to understand how it happens. You sign up for a policy when you're younger, life insurance, supplemental coverage, maybe a premium dental or vision plan, and you just keep paying, month after month, year after year. But retirement changes everything: your income, your priorities, and your risks. And yet, most people never revisit their insurance plans. They just keep paying. That's what Eleanor did. She had a term life insurance policy she bought in her 50s. It made sense then. She had kids in college and a mortgage to protect. But now at 72, her children are grown, her house is nearly paid off, and no one is financially dependent on her. Still, she pays nearly $200 a month for a policy that no longer serves a clear purpose. She also kept a premium vision plan that covered procedures she never used, and she never reviewed the Medigap plan she chose at 65, even as her health needs changed. Robert, on the other hand, reevaluates all his policies every 2 years. He called his insurance agent after his wife passed away and asked a simple question: what do I actually need now? He dropped his old life policy, adjusted his Medicare supplement to better fit his prescriptions, and bundled his home and auto for a better rate. That single phone call saved him over $1,000 a year. According to the National Council on Aging, retirees waste an average of $200 annually on redundant or unnecessary insurance coverage. That's money that could go to healthcare, travel, or simply savings. Take time to reassess. Ask yourself, who am I protecting with this policy? Is the coverage still aligned with my real risks? And if you're not sure, seek out a fiduciary advisor, someone paid to act in your best interest, because peace of mind is valuable, but only when it's worth the price. Here's the fourth behavior that slowly undermines your financial future: not adjusting your investments to match your retirement reality. In your working years, taking risks can lead to growth. Market dips are frustrating, but there's time to recover. Retirement, however, is a different game. The rules change, but too many people keep playing like nothing's different. That was Eleanor's mistake. She had a small portfolio when she retired, mostly mutual funds and a few tech stocks her son had recommended years earlier. But she never checked on it. The idea of investing made her anxious, so she let it sit, untouched. When the market took a downturn, her savings dropped by more than 25%. It wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was money she depended on for groceries, medications, and utilities. And because she was already withdrawing from the account, there wasn't enough time to recover. Robert faced the same market conditions. But years earlier, he had gradually shifted a portion of his savings into lower-risk bonds and conservative dividend-paying stocks. He didn't abandon growth, but he rebalanced, carefully, intentionally. So while his account also dipped during the downturn, it didn't spiral. And because his withdrawals were planned and limited, the impact was manageable. This is known as sequence of returns risk, the danger of taking losses early in retirement while you're also withdrawing money. It can devastate a portfolio faster than most people expect. The key is flexibility. Your investment mix should evolve with your needs. It's not about being overly cautious. It's about aligning your money with your life stage. One helpful rule: ask yourself, if the market dropped 30% tomorrow, how would that change my monthly life? If the answer is panic, you need to rethink your allocation. Up next, the fifth pattern that deserves attention: falling for financial scams or trusting the wrong people with your money. We don't like to think about it, but the truth is, financial fraud targeting older adults is rising fast. And it's not always some shady stranger with a fake email. Sometimes it's a trusted advisor, a persuasive phone call, even a family member. Eleanor was always kind-hearted. She believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt. So when a friendly, financial consultant called offering a low-risk, high-yield annuity she'd never heard of, she listened. He sounded professional. He said all the right things. She handed over a chunk of her savings. What she didn't know was that this annuity locked her funds for 10 years and charged steep penalties for early withdrawal. By the time she realized, it wasn't what she thought. Her options were gone, and her money was tied up. Robert, too, has been approached. At church, through mail, even by phone. But he has a habit he learned from a friend in his Rotary Club. Trust, and then verify twice. He never signs on the spot. He asks for everything in writing. He checks credentials. He even ran a background check on his own financial planner, and wasn't embarrassed to say so. Research from the FBI shows that Americans over 60 lose over $3 billion each year to fraud. And those are just the reported cases. The vulnerability isn't just about age, it's about trust. The desire to believe in someone who seems to have answers. But real advisors don't pressure. Real opportunities don't require secrecy. And real peace of mind comes from clarity, not confusion. Protect yourself. Freeze your credit. Monitor your accounts. And remember, the best way to keep your money safe is to slow down and ask the hard questions. Finally, there's one last habit that might surprise you: underestimating the true cost of aging. It's one of the most dangerous traps, not because it's dramatic, but because it's invisible, until suddenly it isn't. Most people imagine their expenses will go down in retirement. No more commuting, fewer clothes to buy, no pressure to keep up appearances at work. And for a while, that's true. But aging comes with its own set of expenses. Quiet, creeping, and often overlooked. For Eleanor, this realization came late. Her hip began to ache. Climbing stairs became harder. She needed grab bars in the bathroom, a stair lift, and eventually help with basic tasks around the house. None of this was covered by Medicare. And because she had never budgeted for home care, she had to rely on credit cards just to afford 3 hours a week of assistance. Robert had watched his own father go through something similar years before. So when he retired, he didn't just budget for travel or leisure. He created a line item called Future Health. He met with a planner to estimate the potential cost of aging in place, long-term care, and home modifications. Then, he set up a health savings account and kept a small reserve fund strictly for future care. So when his arthritis flared up and he needed physical therapy and a walk-in tub, he didn't panic. He was ready. According to Fidelity, the average 65-year-old couple retiring today can expect to spend over $315,000 on healthcare alone, not including long-term care, which can easily add 6 figures more. Aging well doesn't just mean staying active. It means planning for the day your body slows down, even if your spirit doesn't. Look at your current budget. Is there space for care, for adjustments to your home, for help when and if you need it? Because pretending it won't happen doesn't protect you. Preparing for it does. So let's take a breath. We've walked through 6 of the most common money traps that quietly erode the peace and possibility of retirement. Not because people are reckless, but because these traps are subtle. They hide behind good intentions, behind optimism, behind the comforting idea that things will just work out. But Eleanor's story reminds us that even a generous heart and a hopeful spirit aren't enough without awareness, without intention, without boundaries. She didn't set out to struggle. She simply said yes one too many times, trusted without checking, spent without tracking, and over time she drifted into a place where choice began to vanish. Robert's life isn't perfect. He's had losses. He's faced loneliness. He's made sacrifices. But what he holds on to, what he protects, is his ability to choose, to live with margin, to rest without fear. And that difference didn't come from a windfall or a lucky break. It came from paying attention, from pausing before each decision and asking, what does this mean for my future self? Here's the truth. The way you handle your money after 62 isn't just about numbers. It's about power. It's about dignity. It's about the life you still want to live. Retirement is not the end. It's a new beginning, but only if you protect the resources that allow you to live it fully. So take a moment now. Revisit your habits. Ask questions, say no when needed, and say yes to planning, to learning, to guarding the freedom you've worked your whole life to earn. Because the greatest gift you can give yourself and the people who love you is a future not ruled by fear, but guided by wisdom. If this resonated with you, comment below. Let us know which part of the story felt closest to your life. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe for more insights on longevity and healthy living, and hit the bell so you never miss a message that could change your future. Your choices today are building your tomorrow. Now, let's build it wisely.